The spacewalk today marks the 227th spacewalk in support of International Space Station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades, and the third spacewalk of 2020. This will be the 7th spacewalk for NASA astronaut Drew Morgan, bringing his total spacewalk time to 39 hours and 32 minutes. Morgan's 7th spacewalk in a 6-month time span is a record for frequency by a U.S. astronaut, and the spacewalk today is the 9th spacewalk for the Expedition 61 crew, which is more than any other increment in the history of the station. The spacewalk today will also be the 6th for Station Commander Luca Parmitano of the European Space Agency. His previous 5 spacewalks bring his career total time to 26 hours and 53 minutes.
Route to the AMS worksite. While Drew is ingressing the arm, Luca will collect a bag full of MLI, and he will translate out to ELC2 and prepare the worksite and bags and tools for Drew's arrival at AMS. Drew will then fly up over the top of the ISS and past AMS to wrap the arm around behind and underneath of AMS to start the leak checks at the Nader worksite, where 2 fittings will have leak checks conducted. Once Drew is at that worksite, he'll peel back the MLI, exposing 2 fittings, and use the visual leak indicators to verify that they are leak tight. Luca will meanwhile check 6 fittings at the VSB worksite, while Drew flies up to the zenith side of AMS to remove the mud flap and the shower cap to expose the AMS new radiator system. Luca and Drew will also work together to install an MLI tent underneath of the AMS pump system to close out the former debris shield worksite. With the 8 leak checks and the MLI installed and those are complete, the crew will clean up ELC2, and Drew will start flying back to the airlock while Luca removes the foot restraint from ELC2 and translates it back to the front of the station for future EVAs. Drew will fly from the zenith side of AMS, back over top of the truss, back to phase 1 to deconfigure the arm. Once the SSRMS is deconfigured and all the bags have been stowed, if the crew has any remaining time, they will perform some get-aheads, including some lens filter removals and battery get-aheads to prepare for future EVAs.
Assuming a successful spacewalk today, if all goes as planned, the AMS Project Office has forecasted a preliminary date for the reactivation of the instrument and the resumption of science by Wednesday, January 29th. Again, that date is preliminary and subject to change. Back in the International Space Station Flight Control Room, the Orbit 2 team is on console, ready to execute the spacewalk under the direction of Flight Director Emily Nelson, closest to your screen here. To her right, at the Capcom console, is Capcom or Capsule Communicator Ricky Arnold. You'll hear him communicating with the crew all the way through depressurization this morning. In the ground IV for today's spacewalk, to his right is Jeremy Hansen, who will essentially serve as the spacewalk communicator, talking directly to the two spacewalkers from start to finish of the spacewalk today. He'll be helping them choreograph the tasks and procedures. Hansen trained extensively on all of the work associated with the AMS repairs. And John Malarski on the EVA, or Extravehicular Activity Console today. Again, he served as the lead spacewalk officer for all four of these alpha magnetic spectrometer space.
Ça marche, pareil, sur la télé, t'as YouTube. Alors,
regarde, ça s'éteint. Et là,
bah,
tac.
remets-le là.
Et tac, je l'allume, ça l'allume. Tac.
Box.
Bah, tu peux le brancher aussi direct là.
Oui.
Bon, bah alors enlève-le de là et tu le mets là.
Non. Il faut que ça mette, sinon si j'éteins le télé.
Back in the Quest airlock, you can see the crew is starting to wrap up its spacewalk preparations, having completed a round of light exercise to purge nitrogen out of their bloodstreams, preventing decompression sickness from occurring once they step outside the airlock a short time from now. Again, Drew Morgan on the right of your screen is designated as EV1 today. He'll be wearing the suit bearing the red stripes, and on your left, Luca Parmitano is designated today as EV2, wearing the suit with no stripes. That'll be an easy way to identify the crew members throughout the spacewalk today. The crew members will also both be wearing helmet cameras for the spacewalk, which will give us the same views that the two spacewalkers will have as they conduct their tasks outside the space station. Morgan will have helmet camera number 20, and Parmitano will have helmet camera number 18. Those numbers will appear at the bottom of your screen when we begin receiving those views from their helmet cameras, so that'll be another way to identify the spacewalkers throughout the day.
Good numbers. Thanks very much.
Houston airlock on 1.
Copy. Thank you.
Again, the spacewalk today marks the 227th spacewalk in support of International Space Station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades, and the third spacewalk of 2020. This will be the 7th spacewalk for NASA astronaut Drew Morgan, bringing his total spacewalk time to 39 hours and 32 minutes. Morgan's 7th spacewalk in a 6-month time span is a record for frequency by a U.S. astronaut, and the spacewalk today is the 9th spacewalk for the Expedition 61 crew, which is more than any other increment in the history of the station. The spacewalk today will be the 6th for Station Commander Luca Parmitano of the European Space Agency. His previous 5 spacewalks bring his career total time to 26 hours and 53 minutes. These jet backpacks you see on the screen now are something that all spacewalkers wear, carrying the acronym SAFER for Simplified Aid for EVA Rescue. Spacewalkers wear these backpacks when they venture out as a precaution in the unlikely event that they would become untethered. They could propel themselves back to the safety of the International Space Station. Once those jetpacks are fixed to their spacesuits, Morgan and Parmitano will be moved through the hatchway you see at the top of your screen into the crew lock section. The hatch will then be closed behind them, and the final preparations for depressurization of the crew lock will begin, from 14.7 pounds per square inch down to vacuum, which will be the final step before the crew conducts final communications and suit checks with the flight control team here in Houston. Jessica Meir and Christina Cook are now going to put the Simplified Aid for EVA Rescue, or SAFER, pack onto the back of Drew Morgan's spacesuit. The extravehicular mobility units, or EMUs, are the suits that you see Morgan and Parmitano in now, and these suits essentially serve as an independent life support system, providing environmental protection, mobility, and communications for the crew members during their spacewalk.
Je le mets à brancher.
Ah,
Ça, il va se décharger. Mets ton truc, mais il faut que ça charge.
non, c'est servi comme ça aussi. C'est servi.
Lâche-moi!
Doucement. Arrête de faire tout. Tu déranges tout mon studio. Et déjà, ça
Oh, ça chargeait là. Merde. C'est bon, ça charge. Laisse. C'est bon. Voilà, c'est bon. Vas-y, va voir. Va voir. C'est lecture là. Ça tourne.
Non, ça ne tourne pas. C'est
Doucement.
ça, il faut cliquer là pour un truc. Et... Putain. Arrête, ça a chargé, regarde. Ça a chargé.
Ne charge pas là. Ah ouais, c'est bon. Ok. Bisous. Désolé.
Nadia, ça touche pas à tout ça. Alors, tu pourras le mettre.
Après, on va acheter les fringues. Je t'explique pas toi. C'est ça, j'ai tout de suite ton truc là. Vas-y. Comment t'as fait pour la mettre là? Et pourquoi tu peux pas l'avoir en direct?
Been moved through the hatchway into the crew lock section of the Quest airlock. Next, they will install Luca Parmitano's safer backpack. Again, these safer jetpacks would be used in the highly unlikely event that spacewalkers would become untethered during the spacewalk, and those jetpacks would give the crew the ability to then propel themselves back to the International Space Station. Everything is still proceeding along the timeline for the start of today's spacewalk. Once Parmitano moves through that hatchway, now that Morgan is already in and it's closed, depressurization of the crew lock section of Quest will be done in a two-stage fashion. First, they'll take the crew lock down to 5 pounds per square inch of pressure. They'll pause to do a systems check, and then they'll resume the depressurization all the way down to vacuum. Once it reaches vacuum, the two spacewalkers, Drew Morgan and Luca Parmitano, will conduct suit checks and communication checks with Mission Control here in Houston before they place their suits on internal battery power to mark the official start of today's spacewalk. Jessica Meir and Christina Cook will now begin the work to fix the safer on the back of Luca Parmitano's suit now. Jessica Meir on your right is the crew's suit-up lead today, backed up by Christina Cook of NASA on the left, who will serve as the robotics lead today, controlling the robotic arm to maneuver Drew Morgan around during today's spacewalk to various tight spaces on the work site on the Starboard 3 truss on the International Space Station. Momentarily. Momentarily. Is currently taking a poll from flight controllers around the room here in Mission Control Houston for pressurization of the crew lock once that hatch is closed. And you can see Christina Cook and Jessica Meir now helping Luca Parmitano move through the hatchway of the Quest airlock. Again, once Parmitano moves through the hatchway entirely, the hatch will be closed, and they'll wait for a go from the flight control teams here in Houston to begin depressurization of the crew lock section. Again, that call will come after the hatch has been closed.
airlock on 1. We have completed step 62, and we plan to defer step 63 until after decrest, if you concur.
That sounds like a great plan for us.
Copy.
The sequence of events now calls for the hatch to be closed, which will isolate Morgan and Parmitano in the crew lock section. Once the crew gets the go from teams here in Mission Control Houston, there will be a period of depressurization of the crew lock from its current 14.7 pounds per square inch down to vacuum. Final communications between Mission Control and final checks of the spacewalkers' suits will be conducted, and the crew will be given the go to place their suits on internal battery power, which will mark the official start of today's spacewalk.
All right, guys, we are about to close the hatch. Anything you can think of that you need? Staff? You guys rock. You're going to have an amazing time out there.
As you can see now, Jessica Meir is in the process of closing the hatch between the equipment lock and the crew lock. Morgan and Parmitano now isolated before their final minutes of preparations before they begin the 227th spacewalk in support of International Space Station assembly and maintenance, and the 3rd spacewalk from the station this year.
Houston airlock on 1. We've completed step 70 and 71 of 1.225.
Copy that. We'll put step 72 in work. And just for your information, the power up of the robotic workstation is complete and the monitors are configured.
Okay, we copy all. Thanks, Ricky.
Airlock Houston on 1. Crew is hot mic on space to ground 1. morning, everyone.
We copy all. Richie, thanks.
And good morning, Ricky. Great to talk to you.
Okay, Luca, on the UIA, you can check that the depress pump power switch is off OSS.
It's off OSS, LED enable green.
Copy. And check the depress pump enable take. Copy.
Say that again.
Roger, and Luca, we're going to move over to the crew lock depress Q post.
Copy.
And Houston, do you concur that we are ready to pick up on the depress Q card?
We'll see you on the Q card.
Copy. Thanks, Ricky. Okay, Luca, on the UIA, switch the depress pump power to on and wait 10 seconds.
Depress pump power to on.
After your 10 seconds, you can bring the manual isolation valve to open and expect alert tone.
Press pump coming to open. Press pump is open.
Copy open. Both of you, please monitor your suit pressure gauge remains less than 5.5.
Your copy. 32, copy.
And flight controllers here in Mission Control reporting that depressurization of the crew lock section of Quest is underway at 5:21 a.m. Central Time. Again, the depressurization of the crew lock section of Quest will be done in a two-stage fashion. First, they'll take the crew lock down to 5 pounds per square inch of pressure. They'll do a pause to do a systems check, and then they'll resume the depressurization down to vacuum. Once it reaches vacuum, the two spacewalkers, Drew Morgan and Luca Parmitano, will conduct suit checks, communications checks with Mission Control here in Houston before they place their suits on internal battery power to mark the official start of today's spacewalk. A U.S. spacewalk start and end time is measured from the time the crew places their suits on internal battery power until the time of repressurization when they're back inside the crew lock once they've completed their spacewalk tasks for the day. The spacewalk today is the fourth and final planned spacewalk in a series to repair the alpha magnetic spectrometer. Morgan and Parmitano will finish installing the new cooling apparatus and lines and verify they are ready for use. Assuming a successful spacewalk today, the AMS Project Office has forecasted a preliminary timeline for the reactivation of the instrument and the resumption of science. If everything goes as planned,
Houston on space.
Sunday, tomorrow, will complete the filling of the thermal control loop with CO2, then allow the system to stabilize. Monday, January 27th, the first pump will be powered on, which will allow it to filter out any debris in the system. The tracker will also be turned on. Then on Tuesday, January 28th, verification of the other 3 pumps to verify proper operation will begin. And finally, on Wednesday, January 29th, is when the teams expect to be receiving good scientific data again.
Yeah, copy that. We are seeing the depress as well. It's just a little slower than we expected.
agree. My pressure is stable at 13.6 and has been like that for a while now.
We're seeing the same thing as well and thinking about options.
And Ricky, Christina and I are looking at the hatch right now. It says we are in fully latched position, but it does seem like we might have a leak or out of the upper right corner. We can hear an audible airflow.
Copy that. We're hearing it in the background.
And Ricky, should we stop the depress at this time?
Yeah, we're talking about it. Stand by.
I'm looking.
Hey, Ricky?
I do see I know what it is. It's one of the straps is in the airlock, in the hatch.
Okay, Airlock Houston, we copy all. Hey, we're going to actually have you repress, open the hatch, reclose. We're just putting together steps for you right now.
Okay, we copy, Ricky.
Airlock Houston on 1 with steps.
Go ahead, Ricky.
Yeah, for right now, we'd like you to go ahead and just close the manual ISO valve, and then we'll repress using the equalization valve as we usually do.
Okay, we copy. Luca reports the manual isolation valve is closed.
Copy that. You're go to repress.
Okay, and the depress...
This is Mission Control Houston. Just moments ago, Luca Parmitano reported there was a strap from a bag caught in between the equipment lock and crew lock section. The crew is going to repressurize the crew lock now, open the hatch to get the strap out, and go ahead and close it again for depress.
We are not in the repress cue card. We just want you to go ahead and you already have the manual ISO valve closed. Just repress using the equalization valve, and then we'll reset with further steps once you have the hatch equalized.
Copy and work. Okay, guys, repress is in...
Again, Luca Parmitano reported there was a strap from a bag that was caught between the equipment lock and crew lock section in the hatch. So the crew is going to repressurize the crew lock section now, open the hatch back up to get that strap out, and go ahead and close the hatch again for depressurization.
Okay, Ricky, we see equalization of pressure. Are you ready to open the hatch?
You are go to open the hatch.
Okay, copy.
Jessica Meir now going to open that hatch to get the strap out.
Okay, the center is clear now.
Okay, Luca, we copy the tether's clear. So if you can somehow keep eyes on it, once we have it down, we can't see that portion.
Yeah, I'm holding it now.
Copy. All right, Ricky, Luca is holding the bag, and we have the latch open. We haven't fully, brought it up the reels or anything. Can we just go ahead and close it again as is?
Yeah, Jessica, we want you to go ahead, open the hatch, inspect the seals on the hatch, and then we're going to pick back up in the depress cue card.
Just I can point you to where it was this flap, it was this, and it was right there. There, yeah.
The crew is doing a quick inspection of the hatch seals to make sure everything is good to go.
Have good integrity.
Okay, copy that for the thank you, and thank you, Luca, for the description. What you can do now is we can go ahead, close the hatch, close the equalization valve, and pick up in step 2 in the depress cue card.
Okay, copy. We'll close the hatch and pick up in step 2, and the equalization valve is already closed off.
Jessica Meir now going to close the hatch again.
Okay, Luca and Drew and Houston, the hatch is now closed. We're in step 2 of the press cue card. So, Luca, you can once again open the manual isolation valve.
It worked, and the manual isolation valve is fully open.
Copy. You can expect an alert tone, and for both of you, monitor your suit pressure gauge remains less than 5.5.
One copy. 2 copy.
And depressurization is back underway at 5:32 a.m. Central Time.
Okay, we have past 13. Copy is fine.
Copy.
Jessica Meir in the equipment lock section of Quest, monitoring the depressurization across the hatchway of the crew lock section where Drew Morgan and Luca Parmitano are now. The depressurization continuing down to vacuum.
9.
D9. Drew and Luca at 6, you can expect an alert tone.
Here you go, top. 2 copy. Eight, yes, sorry.
Copy 8.
Seven, yes, sorry.
Copy 7.
Yes, sorry.
Copy 6, we show the same. Luca, when you reach a pressure of 5, we'll have you close the manual isolation valve, and I will also call that for you in case your switch is boggling.
2 copy.
We're in a short handover between satellites called the Tracking Data and Relay Satellite System, and we should be reacquiring video from the station momentarily.
Yes, and follow the instructions.
You want copy? Can work copy. Work. Seconds remain for EV1.
Copy.
EV1 check complete. EV2 check complete.
Copy EV1 and EV2. Check your auction actuators are in EVA.
Can work. EV1 EVA.
Copy, both in EVA. Luca, you can open the man isolation valve.
It worked. Yeah, isolation valve is open.
Key open, you can expect an alert tone. I'll be opening the emergency MPEV. Please monitor your suit pressure gauge remains less than 5.5.
You want copy? EV2 copy. The pressure is decreasing 4.5.
Copy, 4.5. Luca, once you get to 2.0, you'll once again be closing the manual isolation valve.
EV2 copy.
Still standing by as the depressurization continues in the crew lock section of the Quest airlock. Again, once depressurization is finished, the crew will conduct final suit checks and final communications with ground controllers before they place their suits on internal battery power to mark the official start time for today's spacewalk.
Copy.
2.0 on my DCM.
Okay, copy. We are almost seeing that. You can go ahead and close the manual isolation valve.
Copy, work. Keep it on my isolation valve is closed.
Copy, closed. On the UAA, you can switch depress pump power to off, OSS.
Keep it on power, off, OSS.
Okay, Drew and Luca, at this time you can report your initial tether config.
Okay, copy that. Let's start with the load path from the airlock D-ring extender. I see the large hook of Luca's weight tether, large hook, gate closed, slider lock, black on black. The small hook is to his right D-ring extender, closed, slider lock, black on black. On his left D-ring extender, have his red hook, gate closed, slider lock, black on black. His red reel, which is unlocked. His large hook, yellow hook, gate closed, slider lock, black on black to his green reel. The green reel is unlocked. Green hook is back to the red reel, and it is in the unlocked position.
Copy all.
And then we've got his large hook, anchor hook, to my right waist tether. Large hooks are both gate closed, slider lock, black on black. Over to my right waist tether. Large hook is gate closed, slider lock, black on black. To the small hook to my right D-ring extender, gate closed, slider lock, black on black. Then on my right D-ring extender, I also have two small hooks. The first one is my green hook, and that goes to my green reel, which is an unlock, and the large hook, which is labeled airlock, my mini workstation, gate closed, slider is in unlock. Then the final hook on my right D-ring extender is my small hook labeled, and it's red. The red reel is an unlock, and the yellow hook labeled arm. Large hook is closed, slider unlocked to my mini workstation.
Copy all. I show that as a good config. Houston, do you concur?
And Drew, can you just check that both your red and green small hooks are locked?
The red and green small hooks to my right D-ring extender are both in the lock position.
Houston's good.
Copy. Thanks, lead. Drew and Luca, when the crew lock DPDT is about 0, you can expect an alert tone. And for Drew, when the EV hatch delta P is less than 0.5, you will have a go to open the hatch.
View and copy.
And you just heard Drew Morgan checking his tethers and the configuration of his suit before receiving a go to open the outer thermal cover of the Quest airlock in preparation for placing their suits on internal battery power to begin the official start of today's spacewalk.
Copy.
Could you give us the GMT time?
Sure thing. It's currently 11:55 GMT, so looks like we will egress just about right on time.
Copy that.
Optimus, you will be egressing in daylight, but it will soon after become night.
Copy. Point 8 PSI on the hatch.
Copy, we're showing the same.
Luke, I'll take a little, if you can go, Cliff, a little bit forward, belly toward me. That, yeah, I think that's better. Getting close, or some about point 7.
Copy and concur.
showing just below 0.6. How does it look on your side?
I'm showing about the same in the airlock, Drew.
Copy. Give it a couple more potatoes.
Concur.
It looks to be about point. So we're in the ballpark.
We are very close. Houston, do you concur?
Checking. Okay. We're going to wait 1 more minute for hatch opening. Waiting 1 more minute, Jessica.
Copy. 1 more minute.
And we copy.
We're in a short handover between satellites right now, but we should be reacquiring video from the equipment lock section in the Quest airlock, where Jessica Meir is standing by as depressurization of the crew lock continues.
I'm showing a minute has passed, Drew.
Okay, copy. And Houston, if you concur, go ahead with putting the hatch.
J'ai dit fini dans la chambre. Lorenzo, tu sors de la chambre. Lorenzo, ton portable il charge.